Are you waiting to be noticed? Are you hoping someone will validate your effort? Are you asking for permission to start? The world will not notice you. Not today, not tomorrow, and maybe not for years. But here's the truth. Success doesn't wait for an audience. If you want to build something that lasts, you must act when no one is watching. No likes, no comments, no applause, only your discipline. If you want to transform this, stay here till the end, and I promise you will never be the same. You have a choice, and everything starts now. Chapter 1. Stop waiting to be seen. Most people delay effort until they feel noticed. Real builders work in obscurity. Repeat. Visibility is earned after consistency. Example, creators who posted 100+ videos before anyone cared. The first 50 were practice. The truth, no audience is not rejection. It's protection, a safe space to improve. Stop waiting, stop refreshing, stop checking who saw it, stop measuring your effort by who noticed. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they need to be seen before they begin. They want encouragement before effort. They want applause before discipline. They want proof before commitment. You have a choice. You can build your identity around being noticed, or you can build it around being consistent. That's the key. Most people delay effort until they feel visible. They say, once I grow an audience, I'll take it seriously. They say, when more people follow me, I'll improve the quality. They say, when I get support, I'll go harder. Wrong order. Visibility is earned after consistency. Say it again. Visibility is earned after consistency. No one owes you attention. No one owes you an audience. You don't need their permission to begin. You don't need their validation to improve. You don't need their applause to continue. You need reps. Look at any serious creator. The ones you admire, the ones who seem overnight. They weren't discovered. They were developed. They posted 100 videos before anyone cared. They wrote 200 pages before anyone read. They recorded podcasts that barely reached double-digit listeners. The first 50 attempts, practice. The first year, practice. The early silence, training. But most people quit at attempt number 7. Because no one clapped. You have a choice. You can treat silence as rejection, or you can treat silence as rehearsal. It's not about exposure. It's about endurance. That's the key. When you're unseen, you are unjudged. When you're unjudged, you are free to experiment, free to fail, free to refine, free to sharpen your edge without pressure. But instead of seeing it as protection, you see it as proof that you're not good enough. No. No audience is not rejection. It's protection. Protection from premature pressure. Protection from criticism before competence. Protection from spotlight before skill. You don't need their permission to grow quietly. Understand this. Attention magnifies whatever is already there. If you don't have discipline in private, attention will expose you in public. If you don't have skill in obscurity, visibility will embarrass you. So stop chasing the spotlight. Chase improvement. You have a choice. You can build slowly in the dark, or you can rush into the light unprepared. One builds confidence. The other builds insecurity. Let me give you something practical. For the next 30 days, stop checking metrics immediately after you post. No refreshing, no refreshing, no refreshing. That's discipline. Set a publishing schedule. Follow it, whether 3 people watch or 300. Track output, not reaction. Write it down. Today, I shipped. That's the win. Because it's not about recognition. It's about repetition. You must train your brain to detach effort from applause. Right now, your brain is conditioned to ask, did they like it? Replace that with, did I execute? That's the key. The world does not reward potential energy. It rewards consistent motion. You say you want success, but you hesitate to post when engagement is low. You say you want impact, but you slow down when response is quiet. That's emotional dependency. Professionals don't operate on emotional dependency. They operate on commitment. They understand something you're just beginning to realize. The early phase is supposed to feel invisible. That's the test. Not talent, not luck, consistency without witnesses. You don't need their permission. Let's make this practical again. When you start a side project, define your minimum daily action. 1 video, One page, one design, one outreach message. Make it small enough that excuses look ridiculous. Then, execute. Every day. No matter what the numbers say, especially when the numbers say nothing, you have a choice. You can wait to be discovered, or you can decide to develop. Waiting feels safer. It feels less embarrassing. But waiting builds nothing. It's disguised procrastination. Development builds leverage, and here's the truth you might not want to hear. If you can't stay consistent when no one sees you, you don't actually want success. You want validation. That's different. Validation feels good. Success requires structure. It's not about being noticed. It's about being disciplined. Say it again. It's not about being noticed. It's about being disciplined. That shift changes everything. Because when you stop waiting to be seen, you stop negotiating with your effort. You stop asking, is this worth it? You start saying, this is who I am. Identity over attention. That's the key. The early silence of your project is a gift. It allows you to focus on fundamentals, to refine your voice, to sharpen your craft, to make mistakes quietly. Imagine building your skills so strong that when attention finally comes, you're not surprised. You're prepared. That's how you win. Not by chasing eyes, by chasing excellence. You have a choice. Every day you delay because no one is watching, you reinforce weakness. Every day you execute regardless of attention, you reinforce strength. And strength compounds. So here is your instruction. Detach your mood from metrics. Commit to 90 days of consistent output with zero expectation of recognition. Assume no one is watching, and build anyway. Because when you stop waiting to be seen, something powerful happens. You start seeing yourself differently. You stop being the person who plans to start. You become the person who ships. And that identity is more powerful than any audience. You mastered the urge to wait. You stopped begging for visibility. Now it's time to cut an even deeper addiction. Because even if you keep building, there's still something that can sabotage you. Applause. Chapter 2. Detach from applause. Your brain is addicted to feedback loops, likes, comments, shares. Remove the reward system. Replace applause with process. Repeat. The work is the reward. Professionals act without validation. Amateurs need reassurance. Let's be honest. You don't just want to be seen. You want to be praised. You want confirmation that what you're doing matters. You want proof that your effort is working. You want the numbers to go up so you can feel secure. That's the addiction. And it is an addiction. Likes, comments, shares, views, notifications. Each one is a tiny hit of dopamine. Each one trains your brain to associate effort with applause. And when applause disappears, so does your motivation. That's dangerous. You have a choice. You can build your discipline around feedback, or you can build it around identity. That's the key. Right now, your nervous system is wired to check for reaction. You post something, then you refresh. You check, you wait, you analyze. That waiting drains more energy than the work itself. Because you've made applause the reward. Replace it. The work is the reward. Say it again. The work is the reward. Professionals understand this. They don't need reassurance to continue. They don't need emotional pats on the back. They don't need the world to clap before they move again. Amateurs do. Amateurs require external fuel. Professionals generate internal fire. You don't need their permission to keep going. Let me give you a clear distinction. If you are motivated by praise, you will stop when criticized. If you are motivated by process, you will continue regardless. That's the key. The world is unstable. Engagement fluctuates. Algorithms change. People lose interest. Trends shift. If your motivation depends on reaction, your consistency will collapse. But if your motivation depends on discipline, nothing can shake it. You have a choice. It's not about attention. It's about autonomy. You must retrain your brain. Here's how. First, delay your metrics. When you publish something, do not check performance for 24 hours. Not 1 hour, not 10 minutes, 24 hours. Why? Because you are breaking the feedback loop. You are teaching your brain. We act because we decided to act, not because someone responded. That's discipline. Second, create a private scorecard. Your public metrics are not your real scoreboard. Your real scoreboard tracks inputs. Did you show up? Did you execute? Did you improve 1%? That's the score. Write it down daily. 3 columns. Date, action completed, improvement noted. That's the key. Third, expect emotional withdrawal. When you stop chasing applause, you will feel discomfort. You will feel invisible. You will feel uncertain. Good. That means you are detoxing. Because applause is a drug, and drugs weaken discipline. You don't need their permission to build something meaningful. Understand something deeper. When you rely on applause, you are outsourcing your identity. You are saying, I am good if they say I am good. That's weakness. Your identity must come from execution. You showed up, you improved, you shipped. That's enough. The work is the reward. Let's talk about the trap of early praise. Sometimes you'll get quick attention. A post performs well, a video spikes, people comment, they praise, and suddenly your standard shifts. Now you're not creating to improve, you're creating to replicate applause. That's when creativity dies. Because now you're afraid to experiment, afraid to risk, afraid to post something that might not perform. Applause becomes a cage. You have a choice. You can be controlled by reaction, or you can be controlled by routine. Routine wins long-term. Always. It's not about excitement. It's about endurance. That's the key. Look at any elite performer. Athletes train whether the stadium is full or empty. Writers write whether the book is guaranteed to sell or not. Builders build whether pre-orders exist or not. They do not wait for cheers to start moving. They move because movement is who they are. That's identity, and identity is stronger than motivation. You don't need their permission to act like a professional before you're paid like one. Let me say that again. You don't need their permission to act like a professional before you're paid like one. That mindset changes everything. Because when you detach from applause, you become dangerous, you become steady, you become consistent, you become unshaken. And here's the irony. The moment you stop needing validation, you become more attractive. People are drawn to grounded creators, to stable builders, to those who are not begging for attention. Confidence is quiet. Desperation is loud. Which one are you projecting? You have a choice. If your energy says, please approve me, people feel it. If your energy says, I am committed regardless, people respect it. That's the key. Let's make this practical again. Before you begin your next work session, say this out loud. I do not need applause to execute. Then execute. After you finish, say, the work is the reward. Repetition rewires identity, and identity sustains discipline. You are not here to chase reactions. You are here to build capacity. Capacity creates confidence. Confidence attracts attention. But attention is a byproduct, not the goal. Say it again. Attention is a byproduct, not the goal. If you master this chapter, if you truly detach from applause, your consistency will stabilize. Your emotions will flatten. Your effort will become predictable, and predictability wins. You stopped waiting to be seen. Now you stop needing to be praised, but there is another mistake that destroys builders with zero audience. They focus on the wrong target. They chase attention instead of ability, and that shift changes everything. Chapter 3. Build for skill, not attention. Attention fades, skill compounds. Focus on becoming undeniable. Example, athletes training alone for years before recognition. Repeat, skill first, spotlight later. Let's get something straight. Attention is loud, skill is quiet. Attention spikes, skill compounds. Attention can disappear overnight. Skill cannot be taken from you. You have a choice. You can build for applause, or you can build for ability. That's the key. Right now, most people are building for optics. They want something that looks impressive, something that gets quick reactions, something that feels big. But looking impressive is not the same as being effective. It's not about visibility, it's about capability. Say it clearly. Skill first, spotlight later. Again, skill first, spotlight later. When you focus on attention, you chase what performs. When you focus on skill, you chase what improves you. Those are two different paths. The first makes you reactive. The second makes you powerful. Look at elite athletes. Before the stadiums were full, before endorsements, before interviews, there were empty gyms, early mornings, repetition, drills, silence, no crowd, no spotlight, just skill development. They didn't train for applause. They trained for mastery, and mastery eventually demanded attention. You don't need their permission to become excellent before anyone notices. You need discipline. Let's be honest. If your side project had 100,000 followers tomorrow, would your skill match the exposure? Would your quality hold up under pressure, or would you panic? That's the real question, because attention magnifies weaknesses. Skill stabilizes you. You have a choice. You can chase short-term engagement, or you can invest in long-term competence. That's the key. Here's what building for attention looks like. You copy trends without understanding fundamentals. You optimize for clicks instead of clarity. You produce fast instead of producing better. You quit when growth slows. Here's what building for skill looks like. You study your craft. You analyze your mistakes. You improve one small detail every day. You measure progress in precision, not popularity. It's not about being viral. It's about being valuable. Say it again. It's not about being viral. It's about being valuable. Skill compounds like interest. Every repetition adds weight. Every refinement sharpens the blade. But the compounding only happens if you stay. If you keep showing up. If you stay in the room when no one else cares. You don't need their permission to take yourself seriously. Let's make this practical. If you're creating videos, study storytelling, editing rhythm, vocal tone. Don't just upload, improve. If you're writing, study structure, clarity, persuasion. Rewrite your old work. Tighten it. If you're building a product, refine the experience, test it, break it, improve it. Track skill metrics, not vanity metrics. Ask yourself daily, what did I improve today? Not how many people reacted. That's discipline, because attention is unpredictable, but improvement is controllable. You have a choice. You can obsess over what's trending, or you can obsess over becoming undeniable. Undeniable is built in silence. Let's go deeper. When you chase attention, you become fragile. You hesitate to experiment because it might reduce engagement. You avoid risks because they might not perform. You stay inside a narrow box of what gets approval. That kills growth. But when you chase skill, you embrace discomfort. You try new formats. You refine weaknesses. You welcome critique. Because your identity is tied to improvement, not image. That's the key. Skill creates internal confidence. Attention creates external validation. Internal confidence is stable. External validation is unstable. Which one do you want controlling your emotions? You have a choice. Imagine this. Two creators start on the same day. One chases trends and quick growth. The other studies fundamentals and improves daily. 6 months later, maybe the first one has more views. 2 years later, the skilled one dominates because attention fades, but skill compounds. Say it again. Attention fades, skill compounds. And when the spotlight finally turns your way, and it will if you stay consistent, skill will protect you. Skill will give you presence. Skill will give you authority. Skill will give you leverage. You won't need to pretend. You won't need to exaggerate. You'll be solid. That's power. You don't need their permission to become excellent before you're acknowledged as excellent. That identity shift is everything. You are not building to be noticed. You are building to be prepared. Because when opportunity meets preparation, momentum happens, and preparation is built in obscurity. You stopped waiting to be seen. You detached from applause. Now you are focusing on ability over attention. Good. But there is another mental shift you must make if you want to survive the invisible stage. You must stop resenting the empty room. You must learn to value it. Chapter 4. Romanticize the empty room. The empty room is not failure, it's preparation. Visualize practicing speeches to no crowd, designing products no one buys yet. Repeat. The quiet season is my advantage. The room is empty. No applause, no feedback, no reaction, just you and your thoughts. For most people, that silence feels like rejection. For builders, it feels like opportunity. You have a choice. You can resent the empty room, or you can use it. That's the key. The empty room is not proof you're failing. It's proof you're early. Early is powerful. Early means low pressure. Early means room to experiment. Early means mistakes are affordable. The quiet season is my advantage. Say it again. The quiet season is my advantage. Most people quit because they misinterpret silence. They think no response means no potential. They think no growth means no future. Wrong. Silence is not judgment. Silence is space. Space to refine. Space to sharpen. Space to become dangerous without distraction. Imagine practicing a speech in an empty auditorium. No crowd. No pressure. Just repetition. Tone, timing, presence. That's a gift. Because when the room fills, you won't panic. You'll perform. You don't need their permission to train before the spotlight. You need discipline. Let's talk about the psychology of the empty room. When no one is watching, your ego gets restless. It whispers, "Why are you doing this? No one cares. This isn't working." That voice is not truth. It's discomfort, and discomfort is part of growth. You have a choice. You can obey discomfort, or you can outlast it. That's the key. The quiet phase builds something attention cannot. Internal stability. When you show up consistently in silence, you prove something to yourself. You prove you are not dependent on praise. You prove you are not controlled by reaction. You prove you can execute without witnesses. That builds identity, and identity builds momentum. The quiet season is my advantage. Most people only work when energy is high and feedback is present. When both disappear, they disappear. You won't, because you understand something they don't. The empty room is a training ground. Let's make this practical. When engagement is low, double down on refinement. Rewatch your work. Reread your writing. Rebuild your systems. Ask, if 10,000 people saw this tomorrow, would I be proud? That question sharpens you. It's not about exposure. It's about preparation. That's the key. Think about athletes again. Before the championship game, there are thousands of practice reps in empty gyms. Free throws, sprints, drills, repetition. No crowd, no cameras, just work. And when the championship moment comes, their body responds automatically. That automatic response is built in silence. You don't need their permission to treat your small platform like a big stage. Act like the room is full, even when it's empty. Speak clearly, design carefully, edit precisely, execute professionally. Not because people are watching, but because you are. You have a choice. You can treat obscurity casually, or you can treat it seriously. Serious builders win. Let's address the emotional reality. The empty room can feel lonely. It can feel like shouting into the void. It can feel like you're behind. But comparison is poison. You're not behind. You're building. And building takes time. The quiet season is my advantage. When you internalize that, your frustration decreases. Because you stop demanding immediate return. You start trusting compounding effort. And compounding effort is invisible at first. That's why most people quit. They want visible proof before invisible growth finishes forming. But roots grow underground. Strength develops quietly. Capacity expands without applause. You have a choice. You can demand results prematurely, or you can trust the process deliberately. That's the key. Here's an instruction. For the next 60 days, assume growth will be slow. Plan for it. Expect it. Remove the emotional shock of slow progress. When it happens, you won't panic. You'll say, "This is part of the phase." That emotional control keeps you consistent, and consistency wins. Let's flip your perspective. If your room were already full, you would feel pressure, expectations, criticism, comparison. Right now you have freedom. Freedom to test, freedom to improve, freedom to fail quietly. That freedom is priceless. Use it. You don't need their permission to build something meaningful in obscurity. You need patience. Patience plus repetition equals mastery. Say it again. Patience plus repetition equals mastery. One day the room will fill. One day the numbers will rise. One day the spotlight will turn toward you. And when it does, you will not feel overwhelmed. You will feel ready. Because you trained in silence, you stopped waiting to be seen. You detached from applause. You chose skill over attention. And now, you value the empty room. Good. But even with all of that, there is one enemy that can still sabotage you in the quiet phase. Doubt. And doubt grows loud in silence. Chapter 5. Outwork your doubt. Doubt grows in idle time. Action suffocates it. When no one watches, excuses grow louder. That's the real battle. Repeat. Work eliminates worry. Doubt does not disappear when the room is empty. It gets louder when there is no applause to distract you, no growth to reassure you, no comments to validate you. Your mind starts talking. Maybe this isn't working. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you should quit. That voice is predictable, and it shows up most when you are idle. Doubt grows in idle time. Action suffocates it. That's the key. You have a choice. You can sit and think about your fears, or you can move and shrink them. Work eliminates worry. Say it again. Work eliminates worry. Doubt feeds on overthinking. It feeds on comparison. It feeds on silence without structure. When you are not executing, your brain fills the space with speculation. Speculation turns into insecurity. Insecurity turns into hesitation. Hesitation turns into quitting. But when you act, even imperfectly, you interrupt that cycle. Because motion creates clarity. It's not about confidence. It's about commitment. Confidence is a result. Commitment is a decision. You don't need their permission to feel ready. You need discipline to move anyway. Let's break this down practically. Doubt is emotional. Action is mechanical. Emotion fluctuates. Mechanics can be scheduled. That's power. When you feel doubt rising, don't argue with it. Outwork it. Set a 45-minute timer. Do the task. No negotiating, no analyzing, just execute. When the timer ends, you will feel different. Because progress changes emotion. You have a choice. You can sit in uncertainty, or you can build through it. That's the key. Here's what most people do wrong. They wait until they feel confident to act. But confidence does not come before action. Confidence comes after repetition. You build it. Rep by rep, draft by draft, upload by upload. Work eliminates worry. Think about this. How many times have you felt anxious about something? And after you started doing it, the anxiety dropped? That's not coincidence. That's biology. Your brain fears the unknown. Action reduces the unknown. Reduced unknown equals reduced fear. So if you want less doubt, increase action. Not thinking, not planning, not researching endlessly. Doing. You don't need their permission to start messy. Messy builds momentum. Perfection builds paralysis. That's the key. Let's address excuses. When no one is watching, excuses multiply. No one will see this anyway. I can skip today. It doesn't matter. That internal voice is testing your identity. Are you someone who shows up only when seen, or are you someone who shows up because that's who you are? You have a choice. Identity is built in these moments. Closing. Listen carefully. This is the truth you must burn into your mind. You stopped waiting to be seen. You detached from applause. You built skill, not attention. You embraced the empty room. You outworked your doubt. You measured output, not engagement. You created on a schedule, not a mood. You normalized being ignored. You adopted the long game identity. You mastered the private battle. Every chapter, every principle, every repetition points to one fact. Your success is not about them. It's about you. The people, the likes, the views, the praise. They are optional. Discipline, patience, consistency. They are non-negotiable. Your habits today decide your results tomorrow. Your execution today decides your freedom tomorrow. So here's the challenge. Right now. Stop waiting. Stop thinking. Start acting. Show up when no one is watching. Create when you don't feel like it. Build skill before you build attention. And don't stop. Not tomorrow, not next week. Say it every day for as long as it takes. Because ignored today is unstoppable tomorrow. Silence now is power later. Private effort always precedes public victory. So ask yourself, are you ready to execute when no one is watching? If the answer is yes, then get to work. No excuses, no waiting, no hesitation. Your journey starts now.